When Paul Lofton finds a good plant, he simply makes another to pass along or add to his garden. He isn't one to sit back and draw a plan. Paul makes decisions on the spot or when he runs into free stones that beckon his imagination. His children, John, Vincent, and Kimberly, added their touches. Kimberly designed the mosaic for her dad's foundling, repurposed plant stand. On his Facebook page, he chronicles his passion for plants, an evolution that's changed the yard that came with the house.
We moved in here about 20 years ago, and when we moved in, this backyard here, the only thing that was in here was a pine tree in the backyard, and this ash tree. What's a lawn back here now was nothing but thousands of those sandburst stickers and stuff. And then just over the years, I started getting into gardening, started creating a little space. And the plants I choose to use back here are just ones that are real low care maintenance, because though I love gardening, I don't like babysitting plants. So they kind of like to have to survive me. So I have a lot of folks that come over here and go, "Oh, you must be back here all the time working and tending the plants."
Actually, he may be out in the garden, but usually it's to carve out another spot.
As far as the pathways and stuff, a lot of people think I've sat down and planned this all out. I don't. I just kind of say, okay, I'm going to do this. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm doing here, let's make a walkway in here. And then later on, I'll say, okay, where can I join this to? It's a half-acre lot. A lot of folks think it's a lot larger. And I try to have different seating areas because, especially in the summertime, it's like, depending if you want to be out in the sun or in the shade, I've got different seating benches and areas and stuff like that where you can sit, eat. And, depending on what time of day it is, there's always a spot to go sit in the shade if it's hot, or if you want to sit in the sun.
After removing grass, he doesn't plant right away.
I do a lot of tilling. Usually when I create a new garden area, it's 1 year from when I start killing off dirt before I even plan on planting, because one of the most important things, and I think it's one of the reasons I had some success with the gardens, is I know how important soil preparation is.
He adds his own compost, aerated with a PVC pipe, and tills in garden leaves. To supplement them on a budget, Paul fills scavenged tree pots with free compost and mulch from Pflugerville Recycling. Even in 2011's drought, his remaining lawn looks good.
I spread like 15 of these huge buckets of compost all over the lawn, and that's basically what I use as a fertilizer. Because some folks have been saying, "How's your lawn green?" I was like, "Oh, I haven't watered it in 3 weeks, and it is St. Augustine, but just by putting the compost in there helps." And plus I stopped mowing it. I let it grow up to about 6 inches before I even mow it down again, just to conserve on water.
In the rest of the garden, Paul keeps an eye out for plants that thrive on little attention.
A lot of it's just trial and error, because I've also found sometimes you go to stores and they say, "Oh, the plant's xeriscape and stuff," and it's not, it's mislabeled or something like that. So I usually give a plant what I call 3 strikes. I'll try it 3 times, 3 different places, and if it doesn't survive, it's just out of my garden.
Drought-tough plants that benefit wildlife have become a priority.
I'm trying to make this more kind of like a little wildlife refuge. I've got friends all the time that just can't believe the amount of butterflies that'll be out here. I've seen an increase in types of lizards that are here and stuff, and the population is just really, really shot up over the years.
Many times he goes shopping at home by propagating some of his favorites, often to share with fellow gardeners like Matt Jackson. One propagation technique is with recycled water bottles as mini greenhouses.
That's how I first started propagating, because again, I read on it, I'm like, I'm not going to go out there and miss these things all the time and this and that, it's too much. But I was like, oh, a little greenhouse if I set it up right, and depending where I have it, I just leave the cap on, and once I've cut it, put it in there, it's nothing. It just sits there a couple of weeks, and if it's, they start growing, it's rooted, and I go, yes.
His daylily population exploded with help from his daughter.
I've got probably about 50 to 60 named varieties. And me and my daughter, one time I said, so I started looking at pollination and took her out and I said, hey, let's cross-pollinate some of these. And I just showed her how, I'm not into all the scientific names and all that. I just enjoy gardening. So I just told her, it's like, here, take the one with the pollen, you hold this, sprinkle that on there. And then she goes, which ones? And I was like, well, there are dipods and tetrapods, something like that, and they have to meet the right thing. She goes, how do you know? I was like, who cares? Just take the thing, walk around. And she was like, okay, I'm gonna take this red daylily and blend it and I'm gonna do it on the purple one because the red and purple will look great. And I told her, I was like, yeah. I said, but the thing, from what I understand, I said, you'll have no idea of what it is. You could do a red and a purple and it could come out pink or orange because it gets into genetics. And we just went around for a couple, when they were in bloom, because you had to do it early in the morning and stuff, because they're daylilies. They only the bloom lasts one day. We'd go out there in the morning, just kind of go out there, cross-pollinate a whole bunch. We had so many seeds, collected them, and, I didn't keep track. I just enjoy gardening. I'm not the scientific type. I didn't, jot down which one's coming from which. But from that, planted the seeds, and I didn't realize almost every single one of them was going to grow. So currently now, I don't have a full count yet, but I've got over 150 different varieties that we actually hybridized just from the existing daylilies.
His latest project in the works is a garden in honor of his wife Jody, who passed away in 2011. Pinks will join purple, her favorite color, like on the columbine hybrid she loved.
I'm going to actually go ahead and plant basically all purple, plus that she passed away from breast cancer after a 6-year battle. So I'm just going to kind of make it all purple and pink.